again, my dudes. This is Kadima back with one more build video for Elden Ring DLC weapons. This time we are gonna go big. I mean big. You might say size doesn't matter, but in this case, oh yes it does. That's a big ass hammer. And this thing hits hard. And I mean really hard. Let's talk about the build. Heavy black steel Greathammer. Scales strength A, faith D, has 25 strength requirement, 11 for dex and 17 for faith. And for this build we are gonna go all in on strength and just go with the minimum requirements for faith. Dexterity is at 13 because my character was designed and created that way. Nothing I can do about that. But let's talk about the tankiness of this guy. Helm of Solitude, Armor of Solitude, Gauntlets of Solitude, and Young Lion's Greaves. This gives us a poise of exact 88, which is, as I spoken in the previous video, the exact number you want to be able to roll out of the small weapons R1s and avoid the second hit. As for the talismans, Great Jar's Arsenal, we have to go with this because we are very heavy and this will ensure that we are not fat rolling. I tried to go with the R3 talisman +2. It didn't work, I was still fat rolling, so I had to go with the Great Jar's Arsenal for this build. Two-handed sword talisman, we are going to two-hand this weapon at all times. There will be no other weapon, there will be nothing else, it's just the big bonk, and that's it. To compensate for our lack of defense from the armor, that's a joke of course, we are going to invest even further on defense with the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman and the Pearl Drake Talisman +3. This gives us an absolute absurd number of both physical and non-physical damage negation. It's just pure absorption of damage. This allows us to not only poise through and hyper armor through our enemies' hits, but also to reduce the damage that we take in the process of doing so. So that means that every time we trade, we are going to hit hard, and we are not going to get hit that hard. To take things further, of course, I recommend using the Exalted Flesh and Golden Grease. The reason why I decided to go with Golden Grease is because this axe already scales with faith and it's got some holy damage in it, so I decided to sprinkle a little more to buff it with holy damage and make it shine. One more thing I want to talk about in regards to the weapon is the Ashes of War. I'm also going with the new Ashes of War, the Savage Lion Claw. This thing can one-shot people if you manage to hit the whole combo. If you manage to get the Ashes of War to hit in its entirety, it will one-shot people, and I will give you an example of that right away in the PvP examples. If not, it will still do a respectable amount of damage, upwards of 1000 damage, 1100 damage, and so forth. It depends on what you manage to hit when you use the Ashes of War. There's a thing to it that I want to show which I was not aware. It's actually best if you use this from far away. So as you saw, I just reach from here to that bloodstain over there. This means that you want to be slightly far away from your opponent, so when the first hit lands, you are about that much of a distance. If you do that, you'll be able to combine and hit with the whole thing, because it kinda staggers the enemy, especially if they have low poise. They won't be able to roll away from it, and they will get one shot with more than 2000 damage. For the normal attack, this is the R1, it's an up and down fast swing. The R2 is a side to side smash, which is also quite nice. The running attacks, the running R1 is a smash, and the running R2 is a slash from down upwards. The jumping attack, it's a slash with the R1, and this is a smash with the R2. And this is pretty much the build in terms of equipment. Let's talk about the stats. I'm level 151, 59 vigor, mind at 10, endurance at 35, strength at 80, dexterity at 13, and faith at 17, so we can wield this weapon at its full potential. And that's pretty much it. One more thing it's worth mentioning is For PvE, this build is actually quite fun and reliable. You will have a lot of damage absorption, you will be able to take some hits, and all you have to do really, if you are fighting bosses, all you really have to do is spam the Ashes of War. You will destroy them in 2 or 3 hits, especially if you have the Mimic with you, it will just get annihilated. And the Trusted Mimic, it's also nice to go with. And one more thing I want to talk about is if you are using this kind of build for PvE, I recommend having the Holy Shrouded Cactier, which temporarily boosts holy attacks. It doesn't do a big boost, but it helps. And the Blood-Sucking Cactier, which temporarily increases attack power but drains HP. This is why you'll be able to just use this thing 3 times and the boss will be dead. Basically, the Mimic will just help you in the process, but this does the job. In the PvP, if you're doing invasions, I strongly recommend that you do not use the Blood-Sucking Cactier, because it absolutely drains your HP on the long run and you will eventually die out of it. So in that case, I would recommend with increased poise, or try the one that automatically guards attacks. It's also a good choice to go with. But anyway, let's go for the typical examples of fighting the Black Knight and the Blood Chief, and then we'll go for some PvP examples in the arena.
As per usual, let's start with my favorite victim, the Black Knight. We got the Mimic with us, we consume some Exalted Flesh, we put some holy grease on our big ass hammer, and here I go again to mess up things still. I actually roll out of the stairs, which kinda made me miss a little bit the first move, but as you can see, the Mimic is also going in for it, and we just, I don't even know what to say. Let's talk about the Blood Fiend, I mean. Well, as usual, I like to mess things up. I actually consumed the flask before I buffed, which kind of made me lose my tempo and just mess things completely. And then I decided to buff whilst I was under her. Only I can do these things. I can mess up a fight with a boss absolutely out of nowhere just because I'm trying to rush things. But anyway, you can see me just landing damage on her. My HP is going down not only because of her constantly interrupting me, but also because I consumed the flask. So I'm constantly losing HP. But my Mimic doesn't like to take things lightly, so we both just wreck the hell out of this boss. Let's talk about PvP now. The good thing about this build is that it does such high damage that the fights tend to be very quick. I actually normally waste more time buffing than I do fighting. But let's go with this guy. Hyper armors through his R1s. Try to get him to attack me so I can hyper armor through his attacks. And here we go again, hyper armor through. And as you can see, because of our talismans, we are taking pretty much no damage from his attacks, which is basically the idea. That's why we got so much defense. And he falls for the hyper armor bait, and I just finish him with an R1. Quick fight. Now for this one, this guy actually, I felt sorry for him because he got absolutely smashed by my Ashes of War. I tried to bait him because I wanted to R1 to his face. The good thing is that his jumping attack actually stuns me, but as you saw, a simple R1, 800 damage. And there we go. Savage Claw miss, but this one doesn't miss. GG, brother. Now for the next fight. I actually fought this guy a couple of times, but this was the funniest fight. The second round I still won, but it was very long because he just kept running away from me. And I think in here I actually got him by surprise and just managed to do quite a lot of damage. And here we go. He's trying to get me stunned as well, but it's not working well. I'm trying to get him run out of stamina, but here we go. We're gonna finish the fight in one move. You ready? Boom, 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 boom. Oh, okay, I finish you now. Didn't get the one shot with this one. Now, this guy, he's actually using the Smith Script shield. He's gonna go for it, obviously, that's what it's there for. And he's also using the Serpent Greatsword, which just casts that little bolt when you charge the R2. So he's basically trying to go for a mix of ranged attacks with having a great sword for the poise, which is a legit strategy. I'm yet to try this weapon myself. I'm just not sure it's worth it. But then I go for the double R2, the double R1 I mean, and then I just managed to roll catch him every time because he was panicking all over the place. But this is the one guy I genuinely feel sorry for, because this is the guy that's gonna feel the full wrath of my Ashes of War. I had a feeling I could absolutely one-shot this guy the moment he did this, so I went for it. There we go, my turn. Boom, 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 boom. 2,170 damage. One shot, baby. GG. Now this guy, I actually don't know what to say. He was just... First he attacks me while I buff, which I don't like it, but if you want to act like that, well, it's your choice. It just shows poor honor in a duel, but it's your choice. But again, just like everybody that I ever fought using these weapons, they just spam L2 and tornadoes, and I did learn how to dodge these things, so I then just punish him with the roll catches. He does manage to hit me here, but that's fine. I'll take the trade. I'll take a little bit of damage, and then I'll absolutely annihilate you with R1s. There you go. GG, GG. Now for this one, we were all happy buffing, but he didn't like my buff. In his opinion, only he should allow buffing. That's fine. And not only that, he decided to go with a crossbow, which is okay. I got no problems with the crossbow, especially if you are not using sleep. But I can't complain. I've got a build that makes the best out of sleep crossbows as well, so I have to deal with it just the same. He was actually able to outspace me for some reason. My attacks just felt very disconnected. It almost felt like the lag was absolutely on his side, because every time he swung his weapon he would connect, but then I would barely get a connection. However, that running R2 felt a little bit off the hitbox and still did the damage. So I just thought, okay, I'm gonna go all in with the R1s and try to roll catch this guy again. But he just kept going with his crossbow, which, lucky for me, he wasn't hitting at all. I guess he got a little frustrated because he realized he hadn't hit me a single time with the crossbow. Again, trying to get with the R1s, but then I finally managed to trap him and fool him into dodge rolling so I could get the roll catch. GG. As for this fight, good fight. This guy is also using the Death Knight Great Axe, which is quite good, probably a little bit better than the Tornado axes. This one has a much better moveset in my opinion. It hits very hard. The other one is just the spin to win, there's nothing more to it. But as you saw, a single running R1, 666 damage. What a beast. And this guy is using heavy armor, so he actually absorbed a lot of damage. Here I go for the running R1, and so did he. But then I thought he's gonna go for the blink. There he goes. So I managed to counter him with my Ashes of War. GG, brother. Now for the next one. Again, I was actually a little bit distracted at the start of the fight. I get to buff, he buffs as well, all good. Sportsmanship right there. He's using Milady, as far as I can tell. But then he switches to a great sword straight after, which is good because it's a war of the bonks. Let's see which one of us bonks the best. That's what I like to see. Similar weapons. I miss, he misses. He actually nearly got me there, but then he actually managed to bait me into the R1. I think he actually ran out of stamina with that one. Unfortunately for me, I actually thought I was within reach. Misjudgment on my end, so I didn't land that R1. But then I thought, okay, I've got an idea. I will bait him into a running attack. But then he swapped to the Milady, and that made my life way easier, because then he has no hyper armor without his great sword. Now this guy, I gotta say, this is the typical backhand user. all they do is jumping attacks and spamming blind spot. I have made a backhand build, guys. You should go and watch it. It's much funnier than play like this. If all you do is jump blind spot, you are using the backhand wrong. There's a much better, much more effective way of doing it. You should go and check it out. Anyway, he did manage to land a couple of hits, but as you can see, I'm relaxed. I got no problems. I know I'm going to bait him, so there you go. The first R1 to the face, and then it's quite predictable that he's gonna go for the blind spot, and then I just wait for the next jump and finish him with a punishing R1 trade. GG. Now, good fight. We both give each other time to buff. Absolutely fine with me. He buffs, I buff. We both wait. Let's go. And then I realize that all he wants to do is stomp, which is fine. I'll just stay away. I can wait. I'm a very patient man. Let's see how patient you are. Oh, he's got the fists. Not a problem. If you want to poise through me, it's fine. But all you can poise through my hammer is the palm blast. Nothing else will save you. Here comes another stomp. Easy to dodge. I'm still at a very long distance from this guy. I can always run back. My frostbite is quite safe, so I'm gonna take the risk and I finish him off with the Ashes of War. Savage Lion Claw for the win, baby. Now this guy, I actually felt sorry for him. I don't think he knew about this Ash of War, or I think he just massively underestimated my hammer, because this is exactly how the match started. He just got 1200 damage with my very first attack. And then he decided to do that, which makes my running R1 easy, and I finished the job. GG. Now this was probably the one guy that kept me on my toes the most. Mostly because I have fought him so many times. We pretty much kind of know each other by now. So we know each other's styles. I know what he goes for. I know what he likes to do. He likes to do the R1s and then do a second R1 shortly after, which he just did, as you just saw. So I'm there. I'm trying to get him with the running R1s. He's gonna do his R1 and then a second R1, as I just told you, and then he does another R1, another R1. He actually defeated me with one of those. Fair enough, I should say. He actually managed to kill me one of those skeletons with the previous build I was testing that didn't make it to the final cut. Unfortunately, the Savage Lion Claw, as you just saw, has that problem. If the enemy is right below you, the hammer sometimes just completely misses the target. But in any case, he's doing great. He's keeping me on my toes. But I'm gonna try to take the chance to finish the job. I missed, but he's actually gonna come for me, and I managed to hit him just before he lands his R1, and then I bait him with the third R1, which caught him off guard. GG, brother. Now, this guy, it always fascinates me to see people that have the balls to go to the arena with just a jar on their heads. Props to you. I congratulate you for your bravery, but this is not gonna end well for you. Have you seen the size of my bonk? 900 damage with one hit, brother. You need some armor, mate. But then he just goes for the worst thing he could possibly do against my Savage Lion Claw. GG. I actually was just buffing. This guy, I thought he was going to attack me, but he didn't. So for that, I did decided to appreciate that he didn't attack me and bow back. In any case, this is going to be the last fight for you guys. I hope you guys really try this build. I gotta confess, it took me some time to get used to it and be confident enough to go for the R1 trades. It's something that you learn and you build into, but the build itself is very fun to use, very strong, and I do recommend you guys try it. Again, I do ask, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It tremendously helps the channel, and I do appreciate all of your support. I hope you guys try this build, as I said, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Cheerio! GG, bro.